and they had a couple common opponents, and I feel like the fashion that T Wood took out the opponent was, like obvious to a duck. Like when they meet, you can see. I think this is gonna be like a whitewash. Like he's gonna
just straight domination.
Dominate, yeah.
Okay, wow. Really?
And actually, T Wood said he going for the finish. And you know what? Like I've been watching him, studying him. My favorite fighter. I actually believe him. I believe he gonna go for the finish on this one.
That'd be interesting to see because watching Woodley's fights, from what I got from him, he's very defensive, very calculated, I should say. Doesn't take too many risks, but then when he does, he usually connects and explodes.
Yeah, yep.
Explosive power. Yeah. Woodley is one of those fighters that, like I say, he has crazy explosive power, and when you see it, like it's like, okay, you better not blink or you're gonna miss it. I remember the fight he had against was it Wonder Boy?
Yep.
And Wonder Boy made one small mistake and he clipped him.
That was that first fight too.
I was like,
put it as a draw.
Yeah.
But actually, like in the overall package, T Wood got everything going for him. He got great wrestling, great ground game. He got great stand up, and his mind is on another level. Like he got the mind of like, I want to be the Floyd Mayweather of the UFC. I want to hit and not get hit. Like he's on some technician stuff.
Yeah.
He want to completely dominate, and like that's what I like about him too. Like the way he coming. He had a loss before, a couple losses before. He know how I feel, but on this platform, he want to keep this momentum going and this explosiveness going, like you said. And I think personally, and not being biased once again because he is my favorite fighter, he got one of the best straight right hands in the game, cleaning people up.
Yeah.
Best straight rights in the game. And like I said, being dominant in wrestling and all these aspects, for that too, that's amazing. Like he's a monster.
Okay.
And he's defending his belt. He is defending the heck out of this belt.
Yeah, man. He's not to shit on Kamaru Usman because I watched his last fight. Up and coming
undefeated. He a beast.
Yeah, I watched his last fight and it was very impressive, man. He dominated literally from start to finish.
Yeah, he a dog.
Great cage control. Very patient, and you can tell that he's very under control, I should say. So I like Kamaru Usman a lot, but I was watching him and I'm like, man, I don't see him doing this against Woodley. Like if this is like his fight, if this is his game, I don't see it happening against Woodley because Woodley's another monster.
Yep. And once again, though, I really think it's going to be interesting. Like I think he going to test and push Woodley. Like, he going to test him in his wrestling. He going to test him with the power, like, who can strike better. Like, they going to go to all aspects of fighting right here.
See, that's my thing. I think if he does that, like, that's a recipe for disaster. Like, for me, like, in my opinion, you're not going to beat Woodley at his own game. And that's what I kind of seen from Usman. He basically has Woodley's game.
Same exact, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But watered down a little.
Right. So you're going to take, like, yeah, exactly. So you're going to try to beat somebody at their own game who's better than you. I'm hoping he comes in with a different game plan. Like, you want to try to stick to what you know. You don't want to change it up too much. But at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough. That's what I'm saying. That's in my opinion, it's an obvious pick. It's tough to, like you said, beat somebody that you know they better than you. It really is. That's discouraging.
All right, so picks for this is the championship fight, by the way. So this one is going 5 rounds. Yep. I'm going with Tyron Woodley, and I'm gonna go 4th round stoppage. I'm gonna go 4th round TKO. I think it's gonna get into the championship rounds. Usman, he got heart. I think he definitely has heart, but yeah, I know he said in the press conference, if people get hit and they stop, I'm gonna get hit and keep coming. I mean, it's easy to say that, but like the old Mike Tyson line, man, everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the face.
Right. Now with this straight.
You know what I'm saying? So I think Woodley, eventually, He's going to finish him in the 4th round, TKO stoppage, and remain the champion of the 170 weight division. What you thinking?
All right. I do think he is capable of pushing that envelope early on in the fight. Tyron Woodley, that is. But I think he gonna like play this one, and he been pushing the envelope, like putting the pressure on people early on in fights in his recent fight. So in this one, I think he gonna take his time a little more, because he's actually verbally saying like, "Yo, I'm gonna come in there and just destroy this dude, get him out of there," because he's been talking so much. But I think it's gonna be the complete opposite. I think it's gonna go 5 rounds, but Woodley's gonna finish him. I see him finishing him by TKO or submission, to tell you the truth. And it's going to be a long night for Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a good fight. I really do want to see like a good one. I think this can definitely become fight of the night. I think it's one of those that can definitely live past his build. But unfortunately, I don't see it happening.
And if you are better and you want to bet, you want a little teaser bet that T Wood knockout in the 2nd round. That'd be a crazy one. He get that knockout in the 2nd round. But if he don't get that knockout in the 2nd round, I see him slowing down, trying to preserve that gas tank. And 5th round, he'll still finish him. I think he want to finish this fight. All right. To solidify that legacy, because he keep going up against these up-and-coming, strong, tough, undefeated fighters, and he, beating them, taking them out in amazing fashion, just like how he did in his last fight with Darren Till. Just choked him out 2nd round.
Finishing.
Amazing fashion. Didn't even get touched. Came out clean.
And then the last fight of the night, obviously the championship fight. We have the reigning, defending light heavyweight champion John Bones Jones. Let me go ahead and get that correct.
Johnny Bones Jones
versus Anthony Lionheart Smith. And so we know John Jones. We know about John Jones. We know what he's about. To me, if you listened to this show before, you already know how I feel about John Jones. He's the greatest UFC fighter I have ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Anthony Smith, I didn't know much about him. So over the last week, I went and watched a few of his fights, read up on him, listened to some interviews, listened to the fight promotions, things of that nature there. Very impressive fighter. Very impressive fighter.
Yeah, I watched 5 of his fights. I like the kid. I like he good. He a good fighter. He a good fighter. And like his name, Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Right.
Well, that's what he banking on, a lot of heart. He really got that. He got a lot of heart. And I think he going to be a real test for John Jones. Like, people think it's going to be a walkover. I think he going to bring a little bit to the game on John Jones.
So, for those who, don't follow UFC too much, Anthony Smith started off as a middleweight.
Yeah. He started off as a middleweight, and with weight cutting and all that, like he, as a young man coming up, because he's a vet. He actually a vet.
He's 31-13.
Yeah, out of the UFC, he had like plenty of fights. Got a lot of amateur fights. He got like you said, 31 fights or something like that. John Jones only have 25 professional fights.
Right.
So, that's a little comparison for you as far as like he do got experience in this game. He got good submission, good takedown, all that. I don't think he's on that level as far as like I want to really wrestle with John Jones, but if it go there, I'll be comfortable. But yeah, he a decent fighter. He started off at middleweight, like you said, and because of weight cutting and hydrating and all that, naturally he feel more comfortable at 205. So one of his fights that I did watch was with the middleweight when he got knocked out by and it was a stoppage, I think. Knocked out by Thiago, and he's a monster too. He was fighting 185. Thiago Sanchez, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he got knocked out by him. in a little hiccup, but he came to 205 and got this little 3-fight win streak. And I think this is more so of a fight like we got nobody for John Jones to fight right now. So we got to just put somebody in there with him. You know what I mean? Right. Like John Jones is that dominant. Like they running out of opponents. Other than Daniel Cormier, there's nobody in 205 that really could fuck with like John Jones on that level. John Jones is really that dude. Like I wish he wouldn't have tarnished his legacy and his stuff like, you know, with his personal life. But other than that, he's really a monster.
So, all right. So, with Anthony Smith, when he moved up to light heavy,
yeah, he moved,
and he beat some names, but they're kind of, you know, they're past their prime.
Yeah, that's what people saying. He got like 3 washed up fights at 205, which is not gonna help him.
He knocked out Rashad Evans. He knocked out Mauricio Shogun Rua, and then he went and
choked out,
submitted was it Volkan Ozdemir?
Volkic Ozdemir.
So, I mean, he beat like if this is like 5 years ago, that's crazy. That's a crazy list. That's a crazy pot names to have on your list.
All right.
But like I just that doesn't impress me. You're literally fighting the best of the best of the best.
Yeah,
like this is a new level of fighter that you're fighting.
It really is.
Not even John Jones. I heard somebody said, I forgot the dude's name. He usually goes on the Joe Rogan podcast. He said that if you put Rashad Evans and Mauricio and Ozdemir all in the same octagon as John Jones, he probably still wins that fight
with all of them.
Right, with all of them in there.
Literally, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He that good.
So, yeah, man, I don't know about this one, man. I hope he can give him a run.
Right. And I think this is going to be one of the less interesting fights as far as like people want that excitement. I think John Jones is about to take his time with him. And we going to see a finish in this. Ain't no doubt about it. We going to see a finish. John Jones verbally came out and said it. I'm finishing this dude. It's a wrap. He's done. Like I'm getting rid of him. I believe him on that. Like he going to get this job done. But like I said, I don't think he's going to be an extreme pushover for John Jones. I think Anthony Lionheart Smith is going to have more to offer. And I'm saying this because even fighting at 185 and switching and beating these 3 washed up fighters at 205, he still got the physicality and experience to keep up with John Jones as far as like I'm really a threat, so you're gonna have to take me out. Like he gonna push John Jones to the point like, yo, you're gonna have to take me out. So I think like naturally moving up about this weight cut, like when you switching and trying to find your weight class, because what most people do, they try and get to the lowest weight that they can make and fight at that weight class, which with most people, that's not going to work. You get what I'm saying? Because you draining your body. Like, that's not your natural weight. So even when you hydrate up and all that, you still not at your physical, like, peak because of all the drainness and energy that you took from yourself by trying to cut all this weight. So I think this is one of those situations with him. He's tacking on late that he need to be at that 205. Like, he's just now catching on late. Like, it's time. You need to be at 205. Your body feel more natural here. And
he's only 30 years old. Anthony, he's still fairly young.
He's fairly young
in the fight games. He's only 30 years old.
As a fighter, though, 30 years old and that many fights, he a fight vet, though.
Yeah, right.
He's a fight vet.
Right.
He got a lot of light time. And this is main, like, big lights time right here. Time for him to show up. But I don't think he got enough to offer John Jones. John Jones is really impressive, man.
Yeah, like I said, John Jones he's the elite of the elite. Even you mentioned earlier, like 205, it was really nobody for him to fight. Like, we've seen what he did against Gustafsson. We've seen what he's done against Cormier. And these are supposed to be the top of the top.
Daniel Cormier is like the top of the top.
You